Hi everybody, this is Celeste and I'm a nationally certified interventionist and family coach. I'm also a recovery coach. So I work a lot with people on improving their lives and going from that state of chaos to that state of being calm and feeling comfortable in your own skin and helping people get out of the grips of addiction. And I was actually really struggling today with coming up with a topic for the live today, and I had a real life situation come up, and I thought I've got to talk about this because I've been talking a lot the last couple weeks about boundaries and starting to set boundaries, and I want people to comment on this video because we all have this person in our life, it seems like. So I want people to comment with things they've done that have worked, things that haven't worked, and I want to talk about setting boundaries with that one person in your life that you get into a conversation with them, whether it's on the phone or out for dinner, or out for coffee, and you get into this interaction with them and they just want a verbal diarrhea all over you. And it's all about them and all about their problems, and you can't even ask them, oh hey, how's it going? And it's like, well, let me tell you about the latest drama in my life. And we all know, who knows this person? Like the video if you know this person. And I'm sure a million people are gonna like that. And harder question. Like this video now if you are that person. And we've all been trapped into those conversations where, you get on the phone with this person and you want to pull the Janice from Friends and you're just like, oh my God, right? Because it's just like this endless slew of verbal stuff, and 5 minutes into the conversation, you're pulling your hair out and you're all disheveled and you just feel like this hot mess. And it can be exhausting, right? And I had one of those conversations with someone I know today, and I thought, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna set my boundaries, and I'm gonna say, I've got 15 minutes before I have to go to, I've got an appointment in 15 minutes that I've got to go to. So I was trying to preset a boundary and let them know how much time I have. And so I thought, okay, well, that'll help, keep the conversation short. And, even, a couple minutes, like the 5 minute warning, I'm like, oh, I've only got a couple minutes left before I've got to get to my appointment. So, and just on and on and on. And, I finally just at, a couple minutes before I had to get going, I said, I've got to interrupt you. Like I said, I've got to get to my appointment here. And well, that's not very nice. And, I would never interrupt you. And the little voice in my head was thinking, oh my gosh, you would never interrupt me because you never let me talk, right? And, this is coming from a place of somebody that I've got major social anxiety. So these situations just spike my anxiety. I don't know about the rest of you. I hope you guys will comment and let me know your experiences with this, and because I want to hear feedback from people on this, because I think it seems like such a simple issue, right? But I think it can be, these conversations with these people can be very exhausting, right? So I hope you guys will comment and leave your comments. And that this person was quite upset with me that I started setting these boundaries around these conversations, because I feel like I can only take so much. And you leave the conversations where they verbal diarrhea all over you, it's all over your ear, it's all over the front of your shirt, and you walk away just, kind of like this, right? And, it seems so simple, right? But it can be a real source of anxiety for those of us that have that sense of anxiety, the social anxiety of, having to set those boundaries. So that's why I really want you guys to comment and share on this, because it's such a simple boundary to have to set with people, but it can create so much anxiety. But setting those boundaries with these people, it's super important, because they're not going to know if we don't set the boundaries. And sometimes I've even had these people say, well, I'm so glad I have you, I have nobody else to talk to. So it's almost like once they get that ear of somebody that will listen to them, it's like they have to kind of verbal diarrhea on you to because they can get it out, right? So then you end up becoming that person that just gets all of it. And it can be overwhelming to take all that on. And if like even a 15-minute, if you set that 15-minute boundary with that person, it can be a lot of information. It can just feel like this energy drain, right? And I'm a recovering people pleaser, right? Absolutely, I'll admit it. How many recovering people pleasers are out there? Absolutely me. So the last thing I want to do is hurt anybody's feelings and say, okay, well, I gotta go here, right? And when you're in that people pleasing mindset, the last thing you want to do is hurt that person's feelings, especially if they're calling you to talk about their problems and they're already coming from a place of hurt. You're almost rubbing salt in that wound. Or that's how I feel when I have to set boundaries like that with somebody. So it was something that came up for me today, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's so relevant to people pleasing and setting boundaries and some of those codependent enabling behaviors, right? And it is very enabling to allow somebody to call you and just dump all their problems on you, right? And I mean, there's a time and a place where venting is helpful and constructive and beneficial to somebody to just be able to bounce some ideas off you. But I find too, sometimes with some of these people, it's like they just want to get it out and talk about it without really having there's a time and place for venting, but there's also a time and a place where you need to start doing the constructive things to get out of that. And I find a lot of times with people that friends or family or whoever it is, they just want that person to vent to without having to take responsibility for what's bothering them to actually make that change, right? And so you have to start to decide when that line has come, because that can be a very difficult judgment call to make. Like at what point do you say, okay, well, this has gone from the occasional venting to just a toxic waste dump of you just dumping all your issues on me. So it's a really fine line, and you have to be really careful, because you don't want to push that person further away. You don't want to alienate them. So you want to be supportive, but you don't want to become that toxic waste dump for their verbal diarrhea, right? So being able to set those effective boundaries and start, maybe encouraging them towards a way of, okay, yeah, I get it, there's a time and a place to vent, but okay, you have to very lovingly say, okay, venting time's up. How do we transition into making some changes, or starting to improve the situation, right? And a lot of times too, I'll even say to people, you have very two distinct choices in most situations, right? If you're in a situation that you're upset about and maybe venting about, you can either stay in that situation that's giving you all the stress and anxiety, hi everybody, and accept it the way it is, and learn to deal with the situation as is. So find coping mechanisms to deal with the current situation, or you have to pick up and leave that situation, which is going to mean developing a plan or an exit strategy or setting boundaries or whatever you have to do to remove yourself from that situation. So most times it's from a logical perspective, it's your choices are clear, but sometimes when you're in that emotional state of stress and anxiety and depression and all those things, worry, whatever, it can be very hard to see it from that perspective. And that might seem like a very black or white solution, and there's oftentimes shades of gray there, but it's if you break it down into those two perspectives, it starts to give you a little bit more perspective on what you want to do with that situation. I'm getting a little bit off topic here now, but I just thought it was such an interesting experience I had today with having to set boundaries. And initially this person was quite upset with me that I interrupted her, and I followed it up with explaining, okay, this is what's going on. I do have another appointment I've got to get to, and I've got to get there. And I gave her some final words of encouragement and support. And then I think once she realized that, I am here to support you, but at the same time, I have to put limits on that. So, while there was that initial upset, I was able to rein her back in and give her some support and words of encouragement. So, there was that initial uncomfortable, anxiety-inducing response. But, sometimes that's the thing about setting boundaries is, setting the boundary and saying, this is what I need, this is my boundary, but also following it up after too with, extending that olive branch immediately after, and, saying I'm still, I had to set that boundary. It might sound harsh, it might sound hurtful, but I really am here to support you. I'm here to love you and encourage you through life. So I really wanted to share that experience today, because I felt like we all seem to know at least one or two people that do that. And if you aren't the person that gets those people being into your life, maybe you are that person. Right? I'm just teasing. Ending it on a light note. So I